You're listening to the Bromsgrove Standard Podcast because you have impeccable taste.
Very warm welcome to this week's Bromsgrove and Droitwich Standard Podcast with me, Tristan Harris. Now, Friday, I went to the launch of the Eddie bus, which you might know already if you've seen our website, but it was a new £32,000 Peugeot Boxer, and it was the Eddie bus. It stands for Everyday Drives for the Disabled, Independent and Elderly. Now, it is named after Eddie as well, Eddie Mowbray. He was a driver for the service for 10 years. Then when the DVLA told him he had to pack up the driving, he now takes the bookings and he makes sure everybody's got the minibus when they want it. It might be a minibus, but it's got a roller coaster of a history. It was launched in 1985 with Nora Bing, Margaret Fishley, David Hughes and Jack Grantham. They came together to get a new minibus for the elderly to take them out to places like hospital appointments and, for a little cheeky visit to the pub for a dinner, or to Worcester Cathedral or any of the other major tourist attractions around the area. And they raised £1,200 to start with. That got them a second-hand bus. Then in 2004, the wear and tear on the old bus took its toll, and a campaign was launched to raise £32,000. That was successful thanks to a load of donations and a National Lottery grant as well. 2010, heartbreak. This is what I mean about a roller coaster. The bus was stolen, and unperturbed, they raised another £17,700, more or less, to get another bus up and running. And they had a second-hand one there. In 2018, that became an aging minibus. £5,000 worth of repairs were needed, primarily due to mice chewing through the fuel line. And when I was there on Friday, they had a little bit of a display and they showed you the Nord fuel line. That was part of the display, so it was quite interesting. So 2018, they managed to get repaired for £5,000. Then they sold it on, and then they launched another campaign to raise another £32,000 for this Peugeot Boxer. There was a load of different donations and another National Lottery grant as well. That was delivered in December. Fantastic bus. It's state-of-the-art. It's got like a lift at the back so wheelchairs can get on and off, and people with walking frames. And you can actually, if there's someone in a wheelchair who can't actually get out of the wheelchair or doesn't want to get out of the wheelchair, what they can do is they can just anchor it inside the bus and take some seats out. So it really is an amazing vehicle, and it's doing so much good in the community. The lack of drivers has always been a problem, so I'll give you some information at the end. If you can spare a few hours a week just to drive the minibus and take these older people and disabled, independent and elderly to places where they want to go. It was quite funny, actually, because Robert Trigger, one of the trustees, he gave a speech and he said that the elderly... some of them say, "Oh, I'm not elderly," so that's why they included independent and disabled, and so it's good. And it also is a nice acronym of Eddie. So I caught up with the three of them. There was Robert Trigger, Enid Harris, who's been using the service for 35 years since its inception, and Eddie Mowbray, who the bus is named after. Eddie and Enid cut the ribbon on the day, and here's what they had to say. Here I have Eddie Mowbray at the launch of the Eddie bus, and it's named after you. What's it like to have a minibus named after you?
Well, a little bit embarrassing. It's totally unexpected, but because they say it's in honour of the number of years that I've done voluntary work for the Bromsgrove minibus appeal. I suppose I do like the idea that they've taken the trouble to honour me in this way.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that you have to be on it all the time, though, does it?
I don't get to go on it.
Oh, you don't get to go on it. You used to drive, though, didn't you? You used to drive for the scheme.
I drove the old minibuses as they came and went for approximately 10 years. Then the DVLA stepped in because I'd had a coronary attack some 15 or 20 years earlier. Yeah. They suddenly put a ban on me driving. I could drive a car, I can drive a track lane machine, a Sherman tank. I can drive everything else, but not a minibus.
I wouldn't go driving a Sherman tank round Bromsgrove. You'll freak a few people out.
Well, I think with the roadworks that are going on, it'll probably what everybody will need to get round Bromsgrove.
But now you are the man with the plan. You're the one who books it all and does all the administration. And without you, really, it wouldn't be so organised.
Well, I don't know. Robert, he's the trustee. Well, we're all trustees. The drivers are trustees. But he's the treasurer. And he's the one that does the organising of events like this. And, all I do is quite simple. I take the bookings from the residents, from the nursing homes and etc. And then try and find a driver who's able to do it, who's free to do it. So,
And you want more drivers as well. We mentioned this to Enid as well.
Yes, especially during the summer, when people are going on holiday, the drivers are going on holiday. Usually find that for 2 or 3 of them have got caravans, and what they do is hitch up the caravan, off they go, but they don't go for a week or a fortnight.
They go for months.
Yeah.
Oh, if only I could do that. And it's like a fire, isn't it? Because the fire, you need the flame, you need the fuel, and you need air. Well, with the minibus, we've got the users, and now we need some drivers.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
We still could do with more users of it. There's the few days when it's not when it's not booked, but we need all the bookings we can get to pay for it.
Thank you, Eddie.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
I'm in Bromsgrove here with Enid Harris, and it's the launch of the Eddie bus, which was previously the minibus for the elderly. Now, you've used this bus for 35 years, haven't you?
Yes, more or less, yeah. 2 or 3 times a month. Yes, and it's been lovely.
And what kind of places do you go to?
Well, we usually go for a nice ride out to a pub and have a meal and a drink, or we go by the river or in nice country parks to go to. So we have to try and vary things for them.
Yeah, and you use it quite a lot. And where would you be without this? I mean, it's a lifeline, isn't it?
It is really, yes. I'll be sitting at home by me nails thinking, sweat. No, I won't say that. Shouting at my husband.
Yeah. So it's a secret of a good marriage as well.
Yeah. Yeah, having something else to think about and somebody else to think about makes it all worthwhile.
And this has become a problem, hasn't it? With as people have got older, it's harder for them to get out, and buses like this just they open so many avenues.
They do, yes, they do. But as I say, there's a lot of people that aren't willing to try it. But when they do, they realise how nice it is and how good.
Now, we must say there's another aspect to this as well, because we need some more volunteer drivers, don't we? Because we haven't got, we need some more going forward. What are the drivers like on the routes?
Pardon?
What are the drivers like who drive the bus?
Oh, they're lovely. Yeah, very helpful, very courteous, help you off and on. Sit in and join in, some of them, if they haven't got other things. They come and sit at the table and have a laugh and a joke with us. And, one of the gangs. So it's lovely having them.
So what would you say to people who can drive and they're thinking about this? What would you say to them?
Go for it.
There you go, you heard it first from Enid. Go for it. So the Eddie bus is looking for new drivers, so if you can help, please do.
Right.
And now I have Robert Trigger, who's one of the trustees as well. And here it is, this beautiful Eddie bus. How long have we been waiting for this?
Just under 12 months. We decided round about March time last year that the old bus was costing too much to maintain, and its days were numbered. So we then started to see if we could raise funds, and then we found over a short period of time that we were raising funds quite quickly, and we said, right, well, if we use some of our reserves, we could get a brand new bus, and we acquired it just before Christmas.
And like you said, you acquired it in December, and then the day after, it was
Yep.
taking people to Worcester Cathedral.
That's right, absolutely, and it's been used. It's been very difficult to find a day to actually launch it because it's been too busy out on the road.
I see, so that explains we're here a month later on January the 31st. Well, it's 2 months later if it was started December. And now we've finally got a little window. And the cutting was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah,
because we had Enid, who'd been using it for 35 years,
Yeah.
and Eddie, who's named after, the Eddie bus is named after. And, I mean, what would you like to say to Eddie and your drivers and everyone?
Well, we couldn't function without Eddie to schedule us, and without the drivers who are all volunteers. We've got 5 drivers at the moment. Obviously, if somebody goes on holiday, then we have to sort of double up within the week. Often it's out 5 days a week, and I say it's been very difficult to find a day to actually.
And you couldn't use it without the passengers either.
Absolutely.
Well, you could use it, but it wouldn't be much use in an empty bus going around Bromsgrove and out to Worcester Cathedral.
The various care homes and interest groups that around the Bromsgrove area. Obviously, we do it to support them, and without them, there wouldn't be the need for us. But no, we realise that need, and we work to fulfil it.
And if people want to climb aboard and use the service, they can give you a call, 01527 873 588. That's 01527 873 588. Beautifully emblazoned on the side of the bus. And what would you like to say to everyone who contributed to the fund to get
we're
it?
very grateful to all of some of the people have been knitting scarves and raising funds that way, maybe sort of £1 or £2 at a time. Others have been, some of the charity trusts have been able to fund us in the matter of thousands. But it's all contributed, and it's all people across Bromsgrove supporting us. We're really grateful to them.
And what about we've just had a demonstration of the lift at the back, and that is quite high tech, doesn't it? It looks like something really futuristic. So Enid was there with a walking frame, and it took her down to ground level, and it can bring her up again. Because obviously that's the problem with an issue like this, isn't it? You can't just have an old minibus, an old Ford Transit van, and convert it, or one of those camper vans. It's got to have all the mod cons so that people can get on and off.
Very much so, and we can take out all of the seats within the vehicle can be removed. Generally, we take them out down the centre of the bus, but then we can take wheelchairs and anchor them down, and take out people who are wheelchair bound. Often they'll get in a wheelchair, go up on the ramp, and then get off the wheelchair and sit in one of the normal seats. But other times they may be that they can't get out of the wheelchair, or it may be one of these electric wheelchairs. So they stay within the wheelchair. The wheelchair is anchored down, and they have their own seatbelt.
So whatever the disability, you can cater for them.
We can transfer them, and they can take part with the rest of their particular group.
I thought you were going to say you can take all the seats out and hold like a tea dance in there. Maybe one for the future?
We haven't thought of that one yet, but it's something for the future, certainly.
Be a good fundraiser.
Yeah.
It's a great day there for the launch of the Eddie bus, which I'm sure you'll see journeying around Bromsgrove and taking people on their merry way. Now, if you can spare a few hours, or you want to find out a bit more about the service, they're still looking for more users. So if you are disabled, independent or elderly, and you want to get out and about, you can book the bus as well. Or, as I say, they're always looking for drivers for just spare a couple of hours a week. 07803 597 081. That's 07803 597 081. That's to call Roberts. Or you can visit the website, theeddibus.org.uk. That's theeddibus.org.uk. Go to our website to check out the story. All the information's there, as well as a nice detailed report of the checkered history of the minibus for the elderly and then the Eddie bus. And also it's going to be in this week's paper as well. Moving on now, we've got some sad news. The businessman who founded one of Bromsgrove's best-known firms has died. David Houston started in the egg industry in 1961 at the age of 18, and he went on to launch Bumble Whole Foods. He passed away last Saturday at the age of 76 after suffering with Parkinson's disease for the last 6 years. His family said following a fall in early December, he developed a hospital-acquired pneumonia, they claimed. After overcoming this, David went on to develop other Parkinson's-related complications. He died comfortably at the Rashwood nursing home, surrounded by his family. He bought some land at Bumblehole Lane in Bourne Heath in Bromsgrove in 1963 when he moved from the family house in Old Birmingham Road in Marlbrook. This eventually became the well-known and respected business it is today, and it employs 80 people. The family said throughout his life, David worked tirelessly to develop Bumble Whole Foods into one of the most respected companies in the UK. David's funeral's at 12:30 next Monday. That's February the 17th at Redditch Crematorium, and that will be followed by a celebration of his life at the Chateau Impney Hotel. Talking of celebrations of life, last week, after we recorded the podcast, we were contacted by a family friend of Harry Bennett. He was a South Bromsgrove High School student who died at the age of 16. There was a celebration of his life on Thursday, which we managed to publicise on Wednesday to hopefully get a few more people there. Not that we needed it by the sounds of it, because our reporter Harry Leach went along and he said it was an amazing tribute to the teenager. St John's Church was so packed, it was standing room only, and we all know how big St John's Church is in Bromsgrove, so that is a fantastic turnout. It was a very moving occasion. He was a very active lad, was Harry Bennett, and he played for Bromsgrove Sporting and Bromsgrove Rugby Club previously, and prior to his passing, he played for Meadow Park FC and Kings Norton Rugby Club. So there were players there who he'd lined up alongside with those teams, and some of them in full kit actually created 2 lines going into the church and an arch for the coffin to pass under. So it was a really moving occasion. There were some great anecdotes from his friends during the service as well. You can read the full story about that and on our website and on the front page of last week's Standard. Great news now for Droitwich Spa Neighbourhood Plan. It was controversially suspended in the run-up to the Town Council election last year, if you remember. Then all the councillors who were elected came on board. The process has been restarted. After years of deliberation, Mike Lambden from the Droitwich Spa Neighbourhood Plan said it was time for local people to play a more active role in forming the DSNP, as it's called, in working groups and helping produce its content. The Town Council also allocated £200 to help the management group engage with the public. And there is a meeting at the Sacred Heart Parish Hall on February the 25th. Now, this isn't about the neighbourhood plan directly, but it's to discuss any issues surrounding Droitwich that may be included in the neighbourhood plan going forward. Councillors have also agreed to proceed with the planned phases, which will see the DSNP implemented at the start of 2021 after a year of developing and designing. Anyone interested in getting involved with the DSNP, such as helping assemble and archive documents on the project's progress, should email Mr Lambden at mlambden, that's LAMBDEN, at btinternet.com. Don't worry if you didn't get that, because it was in last week's paper and on the Droitwich website. And Claire, they're very useful, these neighbourhood plans, because you can determine, obviously Droitwich needs housing like everywhere else, although it's in a better position than a lot of places. And they can kind of, you can decide what kind of housing you want and where you want it, and then once the neighbourhood plan is formed and voted on and agreed, then planning committees and stuff have to take note of what's in there.
I love it because it just gives everyone a say, doesn't it?
It's all about the people.
It is all about the people. At the end of the day, we're the ones who have to live there, so it's nice that they ask us, really, isn't it?
It is. So hopefully we'll get enough people. So please get involved in that if you can, and shape the future of Droitwich Spa, which is a beautiful town, as we all know, and we want it to stay that way. Planning, we're going to stay with planning now. Whitford Road. This looks likely to go to a public inquiry now. It was a controversial application to build 550 homes. The main site off Whitford Road itself has 490 properties, a shop, a new access road, public open space and landscaping planned for it. The second site would see the Greyhound Inn. bulldozed to make way for 15 homes. I mean, it has been shut for some time, but it's never good to see the death of a pub, is it?
I hate it. I mean, is it definite though? Because I know
it is pretty definite now. Well, they're trying to stop this. I think there was interest in the Greyhound, but we'll have to follow that with because they want to build a roundabout there instead. I mean, Bromsgrove is gridlocked, as we know.
Well, do you know what? I'd never really thought about it. I was always a keen supporter in build more homes. But on a previous podcast, you opened my eyes, Tristan, because you were saying about the infrastructure and you had all the facts and figures that it's not just the homes, it's the roads and the schools and the doctors' surgeries and it's just...
I mean, Bromsgrove is a nice place to live, which is why we got a lot of... I think there is trying to be a shift, and we covered this last year, with the council want to create more jobs in Bromsgrove so people haven't got to travel to Birmingham or Worcester to go to work, which makes sense because... You know, it was before Roger Hollingworth, the former leader, he was always happy with Bromsgrove being a commuter town, and his view was, you know, people can afford a nice house in Bromsgrove and then work in the city and then come back and it's easily commutable. But I think now, with the gridlock and everything, it's just become too far out of hand, and the house can be as nice as you like, but if you can't get off your driveway in the morning, if you can't get to work on time, or you've got to leave at 5 a.m. to get there, then it's just it's pie in the sky.
We're not all like you, who likes to have a swim halfway through on your commute.
And go on the train. I've been driving a lot lately. Yeah,
I like to leave it as late as possible to get to work.
No. But I like to get up, grab a coffee, grab some cornflakes. In fact, when we do the sound test for this. You didn't do it this morning. You normally ask me what I had for breakfast. I actually had a sausage sandwich today. I had time for that. That was good. I digress. So Bromsgrove District Council's Planning Committee can no longer determine the application because it looks like it's going to go to a public inquiry. But there is a meeting organised for February the 13th at 6 p.m. So I think that's next Thursday, isn't it? Next Thursday, was it the 5th, 6th, 7th? Yeah, next Thursday. That's at the Holiday Inn in the Fairfield Suite, 6 p.m, February the 13th. They've deliberately chose the Fairfield Suite because it's a massive room. So they know how many people have got an interest in this. So please go along, have your say. And this will be Bromsgrove District Council's Planning Committee kind of formulating their case for the public inquiry to try and combat this development.
Do you go along to these things?
We will hopefully be there next week, yeah.
Ooh.
So we'll watch that one. One more planning story. If you remember last year, we had Councillor Adam Kent coming on.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about the call for sites because they need so many thousand homes between now and 2040, I think it is. And he said, Bromsgrove, I think it was shocking, wasn't it? It was 87% of Bromsgrove district is still green belts.
Wow.
So some of it's greenfield, some of it's brownfield, but unlike other industrial areas where factories close and things or businesses move on, Bromsgrove hasn't actually got much brownfield sites. So most of it is greenfield, unfortunately, but realistically for the population, as we were just saying, they are going to need to build on some of that. Remind
me brownfield again.
So brownfield is if you've got like buildings there, or like say you've got that Burcott's garden centre.
Okay.
So say you've got a garden centre or something that's going to be closing, and they want to make way for housing, then that's called a brownfield site because it's land that's already been used. It's not as nature once created. Greenfield is just untouched. Untouched grass. So that is going to have to be built on. That's the long and short of it. But it's where you build and how suitable the sites are for your infrastructure and your roads and your doctors' surgeries and your schools and everything like that. So now the council asked for sites for landowners to say, put your site forward if you fancy some housing being built on it. 300 plots of land have been put forward.
Oh, wow.
Now, don't panic, everyone, because they're not going to build on all 300 of them. Otherwise, there'll be way more houses than they need. But they do want to have a look at each one individually and assess its merits, and then the ones that the council consider to be the most suitable for development will be put forward. The council have pointed out with such a large number of sites, it is going to take a bit of time to go through them all. They'll be working flat out on this, I expect. So just bear with us. We'll have all the updates as and when they happen.
Great.
We didn't do standard shout-outs, did we? We started that on the first one of 2020, and then I completely forgot about it. So please, if you've got any standard shout-outs for the podcast, people who've done good deeds or people who've got awards, please email them. We can do a story as well and a website piece, or you can even come in on the podcast as well if you fancy it. Editor at bromsgrovestandard.co.uk or editor at droitwichstandard.co.uk. I've just picked a few out from this week of good achievements. Oliver Sims, congratulations to him. Meadows First School, he was awarded £300 worth of bike vouchers after winning a sign design competition. Now, he designed the sign, which will be replicated 50 times along Bromsgrove's new walking and cycling routes, which are currently being built or constructed. On it, he promoted the environmental benefits of cycling. Worcester County Council organised the competition, and they received 1,400 entries from loads of schools: Finstall First School, Meadows First School, where Oliver attends, St John's Church of England Middle School, Millfields First School, and Oliver's was chosen by the judges. So 1,400 people.
Amazing.
He's fought off for that title. Big shout out to Isla, a standard shout out to Isla from Dodford First School. She loves reading. She's a real bookworm. Now, she wrote to her favourite author, Julia Donaldson, who I love as well, because I brought my daughters up on these, on Julia Donaldson and Axel Scheffler's books. You remember there's the Gruffalo and Stickman and Charlie Cook's favourite book, Zog, Room on the Broom. Just brilliant. And now every Christmas we get a different one, don't we? Like made into a film, and they're just those. What's it called? Magic light pictures, I think they're called. Magic lantern pictures. They're just so beautiful films, and they really stick to the original pictures by Axel Scheffler. Illustration, should I say, to be proper. And they're brilliant. So Isla wrote off to Julia Donaldson, and Julia Donaldson wrote a handwritten note back saying she's sorry she couldn't visit, but she's pleased that they're all reading, and I think she sent them some stickers
do you
as
know,
well.
It's so nice, isn't it, when they take the time to reach out if you write to people. That's lovely. So
well done to Julia Donaldson for doing that, and well done to Isla for writing. And keep up the reading. If you're listening, kids, keep up the reading, because it will. It's everything, isn't it? From warning signs that you need to see in case you get knocked over or anything, or right through to enjoying stories. And a lot of people, sometimes if you read a book and then you see a film's never as good.
Oh, it's never as good.
It's not as you envisaged it. You're the film director when you read a book, because you create the pictures in your head.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic stuff. So keep up the good reading. Worcester Wildlife Trust have released their Wildlife Heroes. There was a ceremony earlier this month, or last month, and they've given out 3 from Bromsgrove. Richard Hare, he's the head groundsman at Bromsgrove School. During the last 5 years, the school's planted an orchard boasting 50 different Midlands-based varieties of fruit tree. They've introduced wildlife meadows across the school sites, and they've planted a large number of trees and hedges. The school's also left manicured lawns, so that, I think that means that they leave them to grow a bit, so bees and stuff can use them rather than just have a beautiful stripes and stuff. I mean, they've each got their merits. They've also introduced a beekeeping club. I'm sure if you gave that a go, you'd be buzzing afterwards. And there's also an on-site beehive. They're currently building a wildlife-friendly area, which includes one of many ponds at the school. So they've got a new wildlife-friendly pond, and there's loads of ponds at the school anyway. So that's fantastic. Well done to Bromsgrove School. And Richard Hare, the head groundsman. Poppy Elwell, she's 9 years old. She's always been eco-conscious. She's part of her school's eco-council, and she's produced her own posters on environmental issues to display around the school. She also visits other classes in the school to talk to pupils, encouraging them to do more for the nature and the environment in their area. Last Christmas, Poppy asked Santa for a litter picker, and she got that litter picker. She now takes it whenever she visits her grandparents' cottage in Hanbury, and she goes litter picking in the woods.
Can I just say, I think that's the cutest thing I've ever heard. How gorgeous, a little girl asking for a litter picker.
Well, it gets better. Listen to this.
She is our Greta Thunberg.
She's got a litter picker from Santa, and then she was asked, does she want some reindeer food? Now, reindeer food is basically kind of like oats, porridge oats and stuff, and seeds and glitter. So, like, you throw it out onto the lawn, and then what happens is, when Santa's light shines, or the moonlight shines, the glitter lights up and it shows Santa where to land, and then the reindeer can eat the food. But she declined that because she didn't know if the glitter was biodegradable.
Girl of my own heart.
Brilliant, isn't she? She's brilliant.
What an angel.
And our final not litter hero, that's something else, wildlife hero from Bromsgrove is Chris Potter. He's a volunteer at the Worcestershire Wildlife Trust. He uses his woodwork skills and spare time to build homes for wildlife, including hedgehog boxes, bird boxes, bug boxes, bee hotels and bird tables. Now, he donates all these creations to the Wildlife Trust, where they're made available for people to buy. Probably, I'm guessing here, but it's probably at their Lower Smite Farm headquarters. It's a win-win situation because people can buy them and then they can create homes for creatures in their own gardens. And Chris's Creature Comforts, as his selection is called, has raised £2,000 for the Worcestershire Wildlife Trust, which do so much good work in the county. And I was just saying to you earlier, we've got to get them on the podcast.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Well, I actually got some hedgehog homes from them, and I've got at my parents' house, because I haven't got the room, but I've set up a little hedgehog village
That's
by
all
their
good,
pond,
isn't
and
it?
it's gorgeous. And I think 3 of the 5 homes are occupied by hedgehogs. You literally have to wait for the hedgehogs to find them.
Yeah.
And we've got
And then
3
they
in.
move in.
Yeah, they move in. They're in. So, yeah, it's really exciting.
It's probably one of the most affordable housing in Worcestershire as well for the hedgehogs, so they don't pay anything.
And I've named them. I've got Einspine, Poke and Spike.
There we are. Do you know which one's which?
No, but I pretend I do. Well, you don't really see them very often, but you put food out at night and they'll come out. So occasionally you'll catch a glimpse, but no.
So Einstein's the one doing the experiments.
He's the really clever one, yeah.
He was the first one to find the houses. Going to move on to sports. Evesham 0, Bromsgrove 6 on Monday nights at the Worcestershire Senior Cup. So Bromsgrove opened the scoring with Gregory from the penalty spot, Mike Taylor, hat-trick from Dowd, and then Shaquille McDonald rounding off the rout in the 81st minute. Now, the other game, the other semi-final, hasn't been decided yet. They're still waiting for a date for it, I think. Kidderminster Harriers, who we all know are probably it's fair to say, are the strongest team in Worcestershire. They're playing Alvechurch in the other semi-final, and the winner will play Bromsgrove Sporting in the Worcestershire Senior Cup final. We obviously want Bromsgrove Sporting to win because we haven't got a paper in Kidderminster. And we love Bromsgrove Sporting. Up the Rouslers. Sporting have got Lowestoft this weekend, thankfully at home, because you don't want to be... I think they travelled to Lowestoft earlier in the season. It's one of their longest journeys all the way to Suffolk. They beat Banbury 1-0 away last Saturday. So the top of the table looks like this. Sporting are second, having played 29 games and got 54 points. Tamworth are top with 27 games played and 56 points, so 2 points of difference. But Tamworth, we want them to play those 2 games and kind of lose them or draw them. But there's about 10 games left, 10 to 12 games left. So one to play for. If Sporting don't get in the top spots, they'll have the playoffs. So Bromsgrove fans will get to watch more football, but it'll be a very stressful situation like it was last summer. So good luck to Sporting. Try and get yourself down the Victoria Ground and cheer on the lads. That's Saturday, 3 o'clock. Droitwich Spa, they played Bromyard away last night. They went 1-0 down. This was in the Cup because, Sporting... Droitwich Spa, the Saltmen, the other way round, as we say every week. They've actually got games in hand that they need to play, so they're more like Tamworth. But they went 1-0 down last night away to Bromyard. Then James Lemon and Jack Davies scored. I think it was Davies first and then Lemon. And they won 2-1, so they're through in their cup competition. This Saturday they're at home to Darlaston, who are second from bottom. Droitwich are second from top. And Droitwich are 4 points off Wellington Amateurs. But they've got 4 games in hand. So were they to win those, I know it's always a big if in football, but if they were, then they would be 8 points clear at the top with about 10 games to go. So good luck to the Saltmen and the Rouslers tomorrow. Both are at home, so get to those if you can. Now, Claire wanted to talk about the Bear Grylls Adventure Centre.
Well, I read your review and it sounds amazing, but I wanted to hear it directly from you. Was it terrifying?
It was interesting. No, it's one of them things. I say to people I do stand-up comedy and they go, oh, God, I couldn't be doing that. I'd prefer to jump out of a plane, whereas I wouldn't prefer to do that. But I got this opportunity, and my eldest daughter, Chloe, is a bit of a thrill seeker. She's the one, I always hold the bags at Alton Towers and Drayton Manor and all those places, but she goes on all these Ben 10 rides and Nemesis and all these things. So she wanted to go ever since it opened, and we never got round to it. And then somebody said, can you, this PR company got in contact and said, could you please review Bear Grylls? Are you available to do that? We want it done before February half term, obviously, because they want to get more people through the door. And I said, yeah. So we booked it for last week. We were going to do the escape room, but it was just, we couldn't get it booked up. That was full. So I do fancy
So what is it? It's like loads of different...
Yeah, so it's the NEC.
Yeah.
So it's a massive complex. And you go in, and then you've got different things to try. Now, we started off with the Fear Zone, which is a bit like I'm a Celebrity, because you start off and the guy Chloe was asked to delve into this bag, and she did. And she pulled out this thing, and she said, what's that? And she said, oh, it looks like a hood. And it was. So we all got hooded. And then we all walked through this dark maze, and then you start off on your feet, and then you have to crawl, and there's different surprises along the way.
And you can't see anything?
You can't see anything. And then you take off the mask, off the hood, and then there was some creepy crawlies like tarantulas and stuff, and hissing cockroaches, but they were all behind glass, thankfully. And then there was a bit to crawl down, and then you went feet first down this other bit, and then at the end, I had a handful of mealworms. They were like dried ones. Mealworms, buffalo worms, and something else. But you know, if a moth dies on your windowsill, right? They look like that. It was a handful of that.
You didn't have to eat anything.
Yeah,
like
you
I
had
was.
to
No, you didn't.
Yeah, you had like a little pile in your hand,
and
then
you
you just ate it. Yeah. To be fair, it tasted like pork scratchings, and I love pork scratchings. So there you go. I could say that now. Now veganuary is finished. I didn't do veganuary, but so I did that, and it was all right. It was quite nice. I went down to a packet of crisps after I got the taste on it. Plus, I was quite hungry.
Oh no!
Then we went to the high ropes. Right now, this was where it got precarious, because Chloe's just. She just loves things like that.
Well, she's so sporty, isn't she?
She's so sporty, yeah. She's so sporty. So we went up to the high ropes, and the bit to start with is amazingly cool. I mean, they've got a replica Chinook helicopter, like the back of a helicopter, and then you're on one of them zip wires. Now, the staff were amazing. I can't say how good they were. They were checking the harness, triple checking it, double checking, which if you don't like heights like me is what you want, exactly what you want. Then they put you on this zip wire, which you see, and it looks quite fun, doesn't it? But you've got to do that bit where you run, and then you've got to
just
leap, or you can just walk and jump off the edge. And as I was going towards it, I thought, what the hell am I doing? Like, I'm just about to step off.
How high is it?
That was probably about 10 to 15 metres high off the floor. Well, probably about 10 metres off the ground. So then you whiz along. That bit's really like exhilarating. And then you get off, and then you walk down, and then you arrive at the stairs to the platform. Now, there's 4 platforms, each of varying heights. I think the top one is 20 metres high. So we walked up, we got put on, because you get put on like a kind of network of beams. And then as you get up there is 36 different pathways. So you've got different like platforms, and then you've got either thin beams or ropes to get across to the next one. And sometimes there's ropes and stuff to hold at the side. Other times you just hold in the middle bit that's got you...
Have you still got your harness on?
Yeah, you still got your harness on and everything. So we couldn't do the top layer because it was too windy, right, which I was kind of thankful for, but...
So it's all outside?
It's all outside, yeah. Okay. And I don't know if you remember how windy it was on Saturday afternoon, but it was proper windy. And I was there, and... Yeah, she just took to it like a duck towards Chloe, did she? I was there. I started off with the small ones, but the only problem is if you did an easy one, then you'd find yourself on a platform, and you don't really want to go back on the easy one or easier one, because no, I didn't find any of them easy. But the other two that you're faced with are suddenly like 10 times worse, and you're thinking, oh my life. Some of them are like platforms where you can like stepping stones. Others are like ropes.
I couldn't do that. I hate heights.
And it was, I don't know if you saw I'm a Celebrity, but the one where they walked off on that pole. And
that was,
there's one of those where you just walk off and then you just stand at the edge. Yeah. And it is kind of like a seesaw. So you walk, when you get past the middle bit, it moves down.
Does anyone fall off?
I didn't see anyone fall off, but if you did fall off, you've got the rope. I mean, you wouldn't fall far. You'd probably just fall, but you still have to get back up. Yeah. I suppose the staff would come and help you. I was being extra careful. And the good thing is I managed to get 26 out of 28.
Oh, wow, that's
and
good.
Chloe did all 28. There was this one I wasn't going to do. Well, there was 2 I wasn't going to do. There was one that was the rope, but the ropes to hold on to were quite sporadic, so I didn't fancy that. And the other one was like a beam. It was a thin beam as well. And rather than being anchored to the actual beams, it was on like chains. So as you stepped onto it, it moved backwards and forwards, and you had the wind coming across. And I was like, there's no way I'm doing that. We stayed on there for about an hour, and
Wow.
when I got off, I'd used muscles that I probably hadn't used in years, and it was quite. But I was buzzing because I'd done something that was really out of my comfort zone because I can't stand heights.
And were you on a special editor's day, or were you there with the general population?
No, there was loads of people there.
Okay.
It was good. Before each, I must say this as well. Before each one, you get a little video from Bear, and he
Oh,
goes,
right.
"Hi, when you do this is when you're a commando. You'll need these skills." So then he said helpful stuff like, "Don't look down." Like, and I'm thinking, yeah, cheers, Bear. I wouldn't. Because when you get up to about level 3, I mean, you know how big the NEC is. I was above the roof of the NEC because I was looking down on the NEC, and we all know how big the National Exhibition Centre is. So I was thinking, oh my God, I am high up here. So we did that. So there's a good little bit of inspirational video from Bear, and then you go off and do it. When we finished that one, we went down to the Commando Marine Assault course, which that's indoors, and you start off with some stepping stones, and then one of you has to climb over a log, the other one climbs over 3 logs, but the other one climbs over one log, rolls under the other, climbs over the other, and I did that right one. I'd like to stay as close to the ground as possible. And then you go under like one of these commando nets, and then you kind of... There's like
Were you racing your daughter
yeah,
at this stage?
she was racing next
Who
to me.
won?
She won twice, purely because I kept up with her. But then there was 2 bits.
Because you're pretty fit.
I am pretty fit. I said this in the review. I run, I cycle, I swim, but I'm no commando. She does cheerleading 4 times a week. She doesn't run or anything, but she does cheerleading 3 or 4 times a week, and she's got like an 8-pack stomach and stuff. So that probably I haven't got an 8-pack. I have got an 8-pack stomach, but it's an 8-pack of beer that's in there. The 6 foot, there was 6 foot walls to get over, and then there was this bit you always see on like Ninja Warrior, you know, where there's like a circular beam and you have to go on your stomach and shimmy across. That doesn't look too difficult, but it's amazingly hard, and I just kept falling off that. We did, and then my nemesis, the monkey bars. I don't know how anyone does the monkey bars. I suppose as you get older and put a bit more timber on, it's harder. Whereas she's like skinny and got like
It's hard just
and
to
she's
hang.
got good upper body strength because she can do somersaults and stuff and everything.
Yeah.
So she's got good upper body strength. That's not my strong point. I do a lot of cycling, running, and swimming, which is probably, apart from the swimming, it's all lower legs and stuff. So my legs, I mean, if you just saw the bottom half, like from my legs down, you'd go, "Oh my God, yeah, he's pretty trim." But then it's just the top.
You should start wearing skirts or a kilt.
A kilt. I could be Scottish. I'll get a Scottish passport. I'll ask Ross when I get back to the office.
Show off your best bits.
Indeed. But yeah, but it was good, and it's a good fun family day out. We only scratched the surface as well because there's so much more to do. There's like indoor skydiving, where somebody sent me a video of it after. Helen Jones, one of the counsellors, she sent me a video of her doing it. And it's like the fans coming up from the floor and you're with an instructor, and it's kind of like zero gravity effectively.
Yeah.
And that looked okay because when I heard indoor skydive, I was like, oh my God, I want to
I've
do
done that before. Were you in a tunnel?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I've done that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's brilliant. It's really
So
good.
that's-
It's hard to kind of keep you. It's hard to get it.
Yeah.
You have to start with an instructor, but once you get it, and it's really good fun. Yeah.
So there's that. Then there's also what I did really fancy, but it was one of the most expensive ones, so maybe that's why they didn't offer it. It's the iDive. So not the iDive, it's called the dive, and you actually get proper scuba up, like with all your scuba gear and your oxygen mask and your oxygen tank and your mask, and it's like a sea life centre tank with 800 sea creatures in there, and you just swim around for an hour with them.
Oh wow!
And there's like rays and sharks and stuff in there, and it's only little sharks, not like Jaws. And I saw a couple of people do that, and they had flippers on, and I thought,
They could still
yeah,
take
I
a
could
nibble,
do with that. They could
couldn't
still
they?
have a nibble, couldn't they? Yeah.
That sounds absolutely amazing. So it's
And the snorkeling, and let me go through the other things as well. The shooting as well, archery, and I think that's it. There's loads of other
So it's
stuff.
almost like Disney World. You go and you choose your area
Yeah.
you want to go to, and you can pay
but it's
just
like,
for that area.
You have to pay for that area, yeah. So it's
Okay.
like 30, some are 20 quid, some are 30 quid. I think the dive is about 120 quid, but
Right.
I think the dive isn't probably that expensive. It's quite good for what it is. But I'd worry that it'd be more expensive because if I got hooked on that, you'd have to then start sailing around the world and go to far-flung places to increase the bus, wouldn't you? So, but it is well worth it. It's the Bear Grylls Adventure Centre. So just have a look on our website on the lifestyle section. We've got the full review there and you can click through to it. And it is an ideal place if you've got the time and money for February half term and you're wondering what to do. I'd give it a go because it is really good fun. And
well, I loved your review and I was very impressed. And, well done to your daughter as well for being the superstar and beating a dad. You're never going to live that down, though.
No, I'm a bit worried. We haven't really had a proper... Well, we've had an almost proper swimming race because swimming's my thing, but she goes to a real good swimming session every week now, and she does like life saving and stuff, and she can swim really fast. So I reckon she'd be able to beat me. She's only 12. She's been able to swim a mile since she was 10.
I can see where she gets her competitiveness from.
Yeah, we are. We're terrible. If me, the other two, my wife and the younger daughter, they don't mind so much. My younger daughter does kind of like winning, but she's not that bothered, whereas me and the eldest one are the most competitive.
You're good, though. You're one of those dads who doesn't let them just win.
No.
You...
And I say in the review as well, I won the last event of the day, the running for the train.
Really?
And I won by about 6 lengths. Because she's not going to beat me at that, because that's something I cycle for the train a lot of the time, but if I do, I hate missing public transport and having to wait a whole 10 minutes for the next one.
I hope you didn't leave her on the platform,
no,
though,
I didn't. I did make sure. I was going, come on, just going, I can't run anymore. Mind you, we were both heavily breathing after the assault course, because that was just...
What a brilliant thing to do, though. What a, bonding experience as well.
It was brilliant. We were buzzing on the way back and we were just chatting about what we'd done. So that's the other good thing about it is, as well as the actual day, you've got the memories, the photographs. And, that was the other thing I was going to say. There's plenty of photo opportunities. There's one of, because it's Merlin who do, 2 swords and stuff, don't they? And Warwick Castle and...
Oh, is it that group?
So the Bear Grylls on the rock, he looked lifelike. And then there's a base camp thing with a Union flag and signs to different places like the South Pole. So I took a comedy picture, which you can see on the review of my daughter, looking out with and it is really good. And there's a cafe there, so you can spend a whole day there easily.
Oh, well, thank you for letting us know what it's all about.
No problem.
I'm dying to go.
And now you're up next, aren't you, with all our entertainments?
For all the things to do and see this week, it's Claire Bullivant with this week's What's On Guide.
Thanks, Tristan. Loads going on again in and around our area this coming week. For the full listings, do check out this week's paper or our website and also our social media channels. They're all on there. But here are a few of my top picks for you. Starting on Friday, February the 7th. It's already February the 7th. Where has the time gone already this year? But Seth Lakeman, he will be at the Norbury Theatre in Droitwich on Friday evening. And if you don't know his music, it's the spirit of rock band meets love stories in a folky fiddle, acoustic guitar and foot-stomping rhythm kind of way. Have I described that well? I don't know. Let me know. He's truly amazing, though. In fact, the Guardian newspaper recently said it's the musical equivalent of the bodice-ripping blockbuster. Powerful stuff, right? Get your tickets for Friday from the Norbury Theatre website. That's the Norbury Theatre in Droitwich. There's also something really fun happening at the Artrix on Friday night. This is an improvised murder with no script and no plot. This is where the actors and the audience create a classic whodunit. Who dies horribly? Who is the murderer? What awful secrets are revealed? The audience, you guys, you're going to be the puppet masters and the fate of the characters are in your hands. It's all served up with a generous helping of jokes so you can enjoy a good old-fashioned night of murder, mystery and mayhem. Think of those kind of have I got news for you type improv sessions, but there's going to also be a murder and it's a full show. It's going to be so much fun. 7:45 p.m. start there at the Artrix. And my other top pick for Friday evening is the live music night happening at the Tardy Big in Redditch. This is going to be a great night with live music from Jack Gaylor from 9 p.m. They did some of these last year, which I went along to, and they were brilliant. Great music, great people, fantastic venue. Check it out. This is their first one for 2020. I'm sure it will become a regular thing you do if you do go along. It's so much fun. Moving on to Saturday, the 8th of February. Start your day off the right way. In fact, start your weekend off the right way and be a wonderful person by joining the Community Litter Pick, which is happening on Saturday morning at Fairfield Village Hall in Bromsgrove. Litter Pick equipment will be provided, they tell me. Just turn up, wear something warm and some comfortable shoes and be awesome. 10:30am start there. What a great thing to do. Then on Saturday night, my top recommendations include Magic Owl at the Palace Theatre in Redditch. This is where you'll be able to look into the magical mind of a magical performer who has worked all over the UK performing his comedy magic. It promises to be a magical and very funny night, 7:45pm at the Palace Theatre there. Over in Bromsgrove, I highly recommend the Count Arthur Strong Is There Anybody Out There show happening at the Artrix. As well as being the all-round entertainer we all know and love from the telly, Count Arthur Strong is also a lifelong fan of astronomy, apparently. And in this show, he brings up all the regular showbiz entertainment, but wrestles with some of life's big questions, such as, are we alone in the universe? Is there life on Mars bars? 2 pounds of potatoes, packet of ginger nuts, don't lose the shopping list kind of thing. You get the idea. Comedy and a great evening of entertainment at the Artrix on Saturday night with Count Arthur. 8pm there, and get your tickets from the Artrix website. Some great live music happening on Saturday night all over the place. Just a few to mention. The Scar Studs, they're going to be on at the Rocklands Club in Redditch, 8pm there. Another night of Scar with the Usual Suspects at the Old Sticky Wicket in Redditch, 8pm start there. Mr. Wolf, everyone's favourite Mr. Wolf, they're going to be back at the Old Black Cross on the Worcester Road in Bromsgrove on Saturday evening. And the One Love Bands at the Oust House in Redditch, 9pm start there on Saturday evening. Then next week, my top pick is on Tuesday, the 11th of February, and it's the Legends of American Country show happening at the Palace Theatre in Redditch. This has now been seen. Over 300,000 people have watched it. It's also watched on social media. It's Europe's #1 award-winning country music night right here in our neck of the woods. There's going to be tributes to Dolly Parton, Johnny Cash, Don William, Patsy Cline, Kenny Rogers, you name it, they're all in there, and countless other well-known hit songs. It's going to be a must-see musical extravaganza, they tell us. Apparently there's 4 fantastic singers, and they're all backed up by a superb live band, coupled with the authentic stage set and state-of-the-art sound and lighting that will transport you all the way to hand-clapping and toe-tapping Nashville. You'll be there and back in one night. Yeehaw! Get your tickets quick for Tuesday night at the Palace Theatre. It's going to be amazing. As I say, do check out our full event listings in the paper and on our website. And remember, if you have an event going on, do let me know so I can let everyone know for you. Have a great week, everyone. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Claire. Loads going on again across Bromsgrove, Arubri and Droitwich, and so much, the nights are getting lighter and everything, so it's more pleasant to be out and about now. Still a bit cold, but that'll improve in the coming weeks. So please get out and support as many local events as you can. If you want to be on this podcast, if you want us to discuss something, or if there's something you want in the paper or on the website, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Editor at bromsgrovestandard.co.uk, editor at droitwichstandard.co.uk. We've also got our websites as well. We've got daily updates going on there, and then everything we put on there goes to Facebook, Twitter, and we've got an Instagram page as well. That's where all the conversation's happening, so please like us and follow us on those, and join in the conversation. Let's get these 2 wonderful communities really firing on all cylinders. That's all we've got time for this week. Thank you ever so much for tuning in, and we'll be back at the same time next week.